G'day and welcome. Earlier this year I ended up creating a really big and exhaustive list of architecture hacks for students.
This is a fully interactive ebook course with videos, animations, illustrations, images, photographs, and anything else you could ever want in one easy to consume scrollable platform.
The original intention for this, I guess it was meant to be an ebook, was to combine and collate all these different really important things I've learned in my architectural studies so far over the last 3 years, and some of the things that other students and other architects have learnt that they've taken away and found really, really useful along their journey. These are all those kind of things where it's like, wow, I wish I knew that earlier. They may be really small things. Some of these hacks are really small, but they make massive differences, like beyond what you could imagine. And so my original intentions was to create an ebook. However, I ended up kind of turning that into like a mini course, except it's not really mini because there's 70 architecture hacks and I went kind of all in on it. I went overboard. I brought in a couple of guests, people like Llyan Austria, David Drazil, Surviving Architecture, Let's Show It Better, and a few others who kind of helped add in some of their best knowledge and best hacks to share with you guys. So it's a really exhaustive list. Even if you just flick through it, you're going to find something really helpful. So if you want to check it out, before we get into this video, I might as well mention that you can go to my website, successfularchistudent.com, and you can download or get access to this. I'm going to go ahead and just go through all of the best ones, and I'm just going to flick through it and share with you my favorite architecture hacks from this free course. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to get access to this screen, all you have to do is go to the website, enter your email, it gets sent to your email address, and Bob's your uncle, you have access to this beautiful architecture course for students. 70 hacks for Archie students. Let's go ahead and dig into it. The first screen is just a bit of information. There's a quick welcome for you, 2-minute video. It's a bit funny, that one, so if you want to check that out, I do recommend it. Bonus hack as well. If you bookmark this ebook, I mentioned it's an ebook even though it's a course. If you bookmark this course in your web browser to refer back to, because it really is a massive list of hacks, you won't remember them all, so it's good to kind of bookmark it to come back to, and then when you find that you're working on a project and you're like, what was that thing that Kyle said in that architecture course? You can just go back to it. You don't have to go back to the website and gain access with your email again. It's just super easy to come back to the screen. So once you've watched the intro, you can go ahead and go to the contents page, which actually allows you to just flick through any parts of the course. If you want to start off with some Photoshop hacks, you can just click on that and it takes you all the way to the Photoshop hacks, or you can go back to the contents, which we're going to do. We're going to start off with the drafting hacks. Now I've already made a separate video for, I think it was 8 drafting hacks. It might have been 7 drafting hacks and then another video for 8 model making hacks. Definitely go check that out. I'm just going to pick a couple of these that I think were super helpful. So into the drafting hacks, that's me drafting just over it. Okay, so this first hack was actually the anti-smudge hack, which allows you to get rid of smudges for good. It's really simple. All you have to do is grab a piece of card, stick it under your ruler, and it creates a little space on your ruler so that when you're dragging your ruler across your page when you're doing manual drafting, it doesn't smudge it because there's that little gap. Whereas if that piece of card is not there, you're going to be finding that when you move your ruler across your page, it's going to be smudging all the fresh ink or all the fresh pencil that you've just been putting down, and that's not a good sign. Number 4, this was genius. If you want to do a DIY trace box so that you can trace things super easy without having to put your pages up against the window or something like that, which is a pain in the ass, all you have to do is get a plastic container, a torch, can be your iPhone or any other phone that you have, and Bob's your uncle, there you go, you've got yourself a DIY trace box. This one's kind of just for when you're working on your manual drafting and you're like me where you always lose your pens under the table or you just don't know where you put it down and it's frustrating as hell. All you have to do is just tie them together, your 2 most used pens together with a rubber band, and you can just flick between them. Genius. So this hack was by Rasha from Surviving Architecture, and this is genius. I had to include this because it's just so good. You just overlay your piece of paper onto a textured material and you just draw over the top of it, and that's how you can create some of these cool textures, which are, you know, wood, concrete, grass, whatever it may be. Super easy, super efficient, genius. Moving on to model making hacks. That is just not a great photo of me, but I don't know why I included that. The biggest tip or the biggest hack for architecture students when model making is to score your materials. Rather than trying to cut through your materials with just one cut with your knife, do a couple of small scores, they call it, first, of just, you know, slightly and lightly going through with your knife over your material and then progressively cut through it rather than just trying to hack through it. You're going to get all these jagged lines and it's just not going to end up well. And I mentioned just how you win sports by scoring, you win model making by scoring. That is just corny. I mentioned how populating your models is probably the biggest difference between a good model and a bad model. It's just the population of trees and people, scale people that you put in your model. It's the final touches that make your models look good. And I don't have any links on this page or anything, but if you want to pick up some scale people, I actually sell them on my store. I have a bunch of scale people that I buy in bulk so that I can get them cheaper and I can sell to you guys for extremely cheap, or a lot cheaper than what you can buy from the art shops, because I know here it's over expensive as hell. So I sell this to all my friends and everyone gets a good discount on it. So that's why I do that. If you want to buy some scale people, they come in 1 to 200, 1 to 50, 1 to 100. If you're Australian, even better, I can get it to you in less than 6 days. If not, I can still ship worldwide and it's free shipping on everything. So check out the store. The link will be down below. And I also mentioned the right tools. This is kind of common sense, but don't use a plastic ruler when you're using a knife because you're just going to be cutting into that ruler. Use a metal ruler. Cutting mats, X-Acto knives are godly. Definitely use the right materials. But then saying that, don't just use the traditional materials for model making. Get yourself a saw, go into the shed, find some secateurs or some whatever it may be to help you make models, because it's not always about just using the traditional tools that you use for model making. You kind of have to, as an architecture student, think outside of the box and think about what tools you can actually use. And that goes the same for materials. Don't just use white card and balsa. You can experiment with any materials you want. These are a bunch of things that I've just found on my desk that I found in the local Kmart, which is where I work, just a retail store where you don't sell model making materials or art supplies, but they just sell kind of house supplies. And you'll be surprised what you can find at those places. Moving on, we have sketching hacks. Again, don't even know what that is. These involve a lot of hacks from other people because I'm not really a professional sketcher. However, people like David Drazil from Sketch Like an Architect has a lot of great ideas about sketching, a lot of great hacks. So I've included a bunch of their work in here as well. Just flicking through this, you've got Lionscapes Drawing. They're really good at doing kind of sketching and drawing. If you don't follow these people on Instagram, go check out Lionscapes. Go check out David Drazil, Sketch Like an Architect on Instagram. Go follow them. I'm just going to flick through these sketching ones because there's a lot of detail to them. I really recommend going through this architecture hacks course and looking at these for yourself. If you struggle with things like perspective drawing or drawing shadows or shading, this is perfect for you. And then there's also some really good site analysis symbols by Samin Mohammed, who is at man.maraki on Instagram. Definitely go check him out. Now onto the good stuff that no one really likes to listen to, but organization and productivity hacks. If you find yourself not motivated, if you find yourself getting stuck and procrastinating and not being productive, these hacks are for you. It's a lot to do with keeping things neat, keeping things tidy. It first talks about your loose sheets and how you can organize the things around you. Don't worry about that stuff. That's not my mess, that's someone else's. But it also talks about organizing your online files, which is something that a lot of students don't do. I don't know why. It's just such a big thing to organize your online files, and it's something that you need to do. So definitely check out this hack. It's a bit long, but it's just really talking about how you can organize your files so that there's no mental clutter, because it's cluttering your desktop, it's cluttering everything else on your computer, but then it's also cluttering you mentally because it's distracting you, it's taking away your attention. And this is the biggest productivity hack here. And I said this is probably the most important hack in this book. And as you can see, this is the only time I'm really writing in paragraphs, but it's so important. And it's basically talking about goal setting, buying a daily planner and just writing in and figuring out what you see as being successful. I definitely recommend going over this hack. Number 41. So if you're going through the book, just recall 41 and read through this. It won't take that long. And then we've got some getting shit done hacks. There's got a couple of videos in there which are quite funny. Book of Wisdom. This was super helpful to kind of collate and combine all of the useful information that you've collected over the years. And whenever you find something that's really useful, you put it in this book, and it's kind of your go-to book for architectural standards, for the standard way of drawing things or doing things, creating systems for yourself. It's something that you can take with you wherever you go, and it's just got all the most important things you need to know. There are a couple of other things. Setting your own deadlines. I've got a video on this, so you should definitely check out that video. Rather than getting really stressed about having a really monster of a project, something that it's just overwhelmingly frustrating and anxiety driving. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but it's about kind of breaking down those tasks before they break you. So set your own deadlines. Yeah, just go check out that video. It's going to be really helpful. This one's talking about how active online lectures, controlling the speed of your lectures rather than listening to someone talk and just going and and it's really frustrating to watch. Speed through it, get through that lecture at 2 times speed, and then slow it down on those parts where you really need to listen in and find it important, and pause on whenever they change slides and just kind of control the speed of it. That's what it's all about. Next up, we're getting into some of the programs. So we've got some SketchUp hacks. These are some of the videos that I have on my YouTube channel, which I take snippets of, the best bits, and then chuck it in here. So if you use SketchUp often, or if you want to use SketchUp, then these hacks are great for you. I'm not going to play all the videos, but it's just pretty much all the most helpful things that you can do in SketchUp, and highly recommend going through it yourself. Stephen Rubio from Show It Better. Also, if you don't follow him on YouTube or Instagram, go and do that because he's got some great tips. He shares 5 SketchUp extensions that are going to be really helpful for you. So things that improve the way you use SketchUp and things that increase your efficiency while working in SketchUp to make your models better, to make your workflow better. Again, some more hacks from videos, how to array things in SketchUp, which is just something that I didn't know in my first couple of years of uni. And once I found it out, I was like, damn, this is powerful. Same as the perfect circle. A lot of these things that you just don't know by just using SketchUp, there's something that you need to learn from an outside external source, such as this course. So go through this. How to animate any model in 60 seconds. I thought this was really cool. This is one of my first videos I made, but it's about how to do this section cut through a model, and you can actually do some really cool things with this. It's not just about doing a section cut like this. You could have it zooming in and doing all this cool stuff. Actually, yeah, for example, I forgot I had this in here. This was from my second year. This is like a rocket ship kind of metaphor of a building, and it's taking off using this section animation, and the screen goes black and it's kind of taking off into outer space. It's pretty cool. If we just skip through a little bit, you can see it's just gone into outer space, and it's yeah, really cool. Oliver Uzkurat from Llyan Austria shares this awesome hack about how you can hide everything that you don't want to work on. This is, just a minute long video, but I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can watch that in your own time. Again, go follow Learn Upstairs Oliver on Instagram, YouTube. You know what to do. We're then going into some Photoshop hacks. A lot of these hacks are from Rasha from Surviving Architecture, who is also on YouTube and Instagram. A lot of great hacks for keeping your Photoshop files clean and making sure that they're tidy, which is something we're not good at doing. A lot of good just 30-second clips of hacks that are going to make big differences, such as how to match the color of a photo from an external source. Say if you just found an image off Google or Pinterest or Arch Daily, then you can change the colors of your illustration to match the colors of that illustration. It's really cool, really powerful. 30-second video there. How to get better quality scans, something that would be really helpful. I wish I knew in first year, just changing a couple of properties in Photoshop that will make your drawings look a whole lot better. This one was by Simon again from Instagram, so go check him out. How to do scale drawings in Photoshop. This is a video from my YouTube channel as well. It's got a few things where you can click through and change. So if you want to know how to create a scale drawing in Photoshop without the scale bar or dimensions, you can just click ahead and go to that part. If you want to know how to do it with a scale bar, so if your drawing has a scale bar, you just click on that and it takes you to the start. Super useful stuff, guys. Things like keyboard shortcuts in Photoshop, how to color pick outside of Photoshop. Again, this is by Rasha, super helpful. How to easily select colors. These things are just going to help you so much when using Photoshop. How to rotate your view rather than rotating the whole drawing when working. And then, this might be surprising, but there are some money-saving hacks in there as well, because as architecture students, we can be pretty broke. We need some money to survive. It's an expensive course to study, so things like cheaper trace paper, using baking paper from, your local supermarket, rather than spending $40 on a roll of trace, you can spend $1.50 on baking paper, and it's the same thing, really. And then I've got some other tips there for saving money, and the best bit of this course is the resources that I link to at the end. And these are all the most important resources that I wish I knew when I first started architecture. Things like where to download PNG files from, where to download your 3D models from for Revit or SketchUp or whatever it may be. Things like V-Ray materials, HDRI maps, so those backgrounds that you put on in your renders, infographics, and then there's a lot of other useful sites as well. A 4D virtual construction tour, so you can go through a construction site here in Queensland, in Australia, and it allows you to kind of go through this building at all the different phases of construction, and you can look at how they're doing the services, and you can look at the sequence of how the services go into a building and how they construct a building. Super useful stuff. I've got a bunch of software command lists, so all the keyboard shortcuts for Rhino, Revit, SketchUp, ArchiCAD, Photoshop. I've also put in some useful YouTube channels from all the people that I've watched in my time that I've found extremely helpful. So definitely go through that list. And then finally, just to plug in my own stuff, I've put in all the popular resources that I have on my website, all of my popular YouTube playlists as well. So interviews with people, learning software. So all of my Rhino tutorials are in one playlist. Again, if you want to learn something, there's nothing stopping you. Everything you need is in either this course or on the internet. So just go look for it. And then finally, I just say that I want you to share your best hacks on the architecture forums, and not a lot of people have been doing this. I can understand why, because it can be a bit of a pain. It can be, a bit hard to think of your own hacks, but just try and think of something that you think will be helpful for others, and then just go share it on the forums. And I guarantee a lot of people are going to find what you have to say helpful. So definitely go share your best advice, your best hacks. That is then the end of the course. Once again, if you haven't gotten access to this yet, definitely go do that. It's free. All you have to do is just go to the website. The link is down below, successfularchistudent.com. Put in your email address. It'll get sent straight to your email. And if you have already gone through the course, I'd love to hear from you. What is your favorite hack out of the 70 that are here? What hack did you find most useful, or what are some of your own hacks? I want to say a massive thank you to you for watching this video and supporting me along my journey of YouTubing and creating things and all that good stuff. It's only the beginning, so there's a lot to come. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.